4th of July special episode of the Guy Panic Podcast. I'm your host, Guy, and today we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Oh, one big, beautiful thing to talk about that was signed today, July 4th. It'll be coming out on the 5th, this episode, but let's just get into it. So, today, Donald Trump passed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which is probably the single fucking dumbest thing I've ever heard the government doing, is passing a bill named the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Now, if you don't know, it's the reconciliation law, so it's the kind of special law that can get passed Congress much faster than other bills because it doesn't require things like majorities and is immune to filibusters, right? This was like the Tax and Jobs Act Trump did back in his first term, and what was that called? The CHIPS Act, the one that Biden did, or the fucking Inflation Reduction Act, that one that Biden did, right? These are usually big budget bills, right? They do a lot of big things in terms of setting the government's budget and changing how it wants to spend its money. It had a bit of a rocky journey getting up to this. It caused a lot of infighting on the right, namely between Donald Trump and his former vizier, Elon Musk, right? Who, as he said, he's throwing around this idea to start what's called the Freedom Party, his idea for a third position, a third way in American politics that isn't gonna have a budget deficits, which I would be genuinely surprised if the United States federal government did not have an ongoing budget deficit in my lifetime. Elon Musk seemed dead set to have that be something that Trump worked on, and I think maybe even Trump said he'd do it. This is a lot of shit. But actually, he said, nah, we're gonna still have a deficit. It'll be a smaller one, but we still gonna have a deficit. Nothing you or your stupid Doge groomed 19-year-old computer science students and Substack writers can do about Elon Musk. And then so Elon left, apparently got into a fight with somebody in the White House, and is now posting stuff about maybe doing a new party. Now, he said he'd start it a lot sooner than now. I have a feeling he's being told to stop it by people because, let's be real here, if Elon Musk made a political party right now, it would only steal votes away from GOP candidates, right? And he's essentially said he'd primary anyone who votes for it or supports it, which is almost every member of the GOP. Every member of the Democrats voted against it. I mean, they didn't do much else. I mean, they couldn't really do much else. They kind of are a bit powerless right now, but still, they could do great messaging right now. But most messaging I've seen about the bill have been from individual people and journalists and grassroots people, not from up top. What they do, they call it the One Big Ugly Bill or some stupid shit. No, and they did do the 20-hour filibuster they're allowed to do, but it's still. But after some infighting, the GOP managed to get their bill passed. I think the Senate had a tiebreaker vote, and then the House it passed. Actually, it did pass last month, but the Senate had to have it changed a bit, so it got passed in the House a second time. And then today, Trump signed it. So what does this bill do, huh? What are the provisions? Well, I thankfully have a nice long list here. I'm not going to read the actual PDF file, Didigaturi PDF file for it, because it's usually written like fucking dog shit and is boring. So we're just going to read this nice summary here. Permanently extends Trump's tax rates that he signed into law back in 2017 with the Tax and Jobs Act, right, which were supposed to expire this year. Increases the cap on state and local tax deductions to $40,000 for taxpayers making less than $500K, which is the majority of the country. With it reverting back to $10,000 after 5 years, or in the term of the next Democratic candidate who's probably going to win, because we're flip-flopping in terms of electoral candidates as of recently. That's a cool little election bomb there. Creates a new tax deduction on tips and overtime pay for workers making less than $150,000. Yeah, this was that big thing. If you remember the election, Trump put this idea out first, and then Harris, like Kamala, immediately also put it out, right? Because, you know, for like, you have to understand, some people just literally don't give a shit about anything except their own paychecks. So if they hear, I'll make your paycheck bigger by not taxing the tips you make or your overtime, people will vote for you. Tax deduction for auto loan interest, a bunch of shit to make it more difficult for you to retire. That's cool. Involving like personal deductions and increase the child tax credit. That's probably a good thing, but also establishes a tax on remittances, which is when you transfer money outside of the country to a foreign country, which is, you know, probably designed to hurt immigrant populations and such. Establishes a new 2.5% tax credit for metallurgical coal. So that's, if you don't know, there's really two main uses for coal in the United States, right? There's coal uses for energy production, and there's coal uses for the metallurgical industry. I'm fine with the metallurgical industry at the time being because it's like far, far, far less of like a concern. This is whatever. This is just designed to increase steel production in the United States. Some bullshit to help out Alaskan people, like keeping them on their pre-Trump snap stuff. Increases taxes on investment income from college endowments. I mean, I won't be the last person to complain about like college endowments, right? Which is generally a rather bullshit thing because like colleges can be like the biggest landowner in counties, in U.S. counties, some of them, and be tax free because they are 501c. Now, is Trump doing it in the most effective or altruistic way? Probably not. I imagine this is a bad thing in some case. I don't know too much about college finances and such, but he did that. Includes the creation of Trump accounts, which allow for parents to contribute $1,000 on the birth of a child born between 2025 and 2028, and $5,000 per year, with the money growing tax deferred, with uses for higher education, job training, or a down payment on a home. This ain't too bad. I could imagine like a government. Is this like a government bank account? What? I don't know. It's not. This isn't like Satan. Oh, here's the good shit. Phases out clean energy tax credits passed with the Biden-era Inflation Reduction Act. Wind and solar tax credits will be phased out for projects starting construction after June 2026 or on service after June 2027. Electric vehicle tax credits would be phased out by September this year, which is probably the other reason why Elon and Trump got into a fight, because that directly hurts Elon's bottom line with Tesla. And then EV charging tax credits will be phased out next year. Fees on methane emissions would be postponed for 10 fucking years, while tax credits for biofuels would be extended an additional 4 years to 2031. And this bill also raises the debt ceiling by $5 trillion, which, again, I don't care about the debt ceiling. If you are pulling hair out of your head over the United States debt ceiling, it's like a waste of time. Even if it wasn't like, even if it was like really important, we're not going to not have a debt. We're not going to not increase the debt ceiling every year. We're not going to not have national debt. It's just going to keep happening. No one is brave or stupid enough to try to like get rid of that, and no Congress would ever allow it to happen. But yeah, that methane shit. Ooh. That's for that natural gas drilling and energy production for AI data centers. That's what that is, right? Because remember, natural gas plants just directly use methane for these like energy production. And in the process, plenty of methane gets released, right? Not even including the transportation and the actual drilling and all that shit. A big defense portion of the bill, $29 billion for shipbuilding. The United States Navy is the biggest navy in the world, and I'm pretty sure, even though there has been some data saying that we've had a surge in military recruitment, it's still rather undermanned. And you can imagine the U.S. Navy will be better with just a fewer deployments, but a much more effective, smaller fleet. I don't know, man. Probably more just defense industry contract laundering more than anything else. $25 billion for a proposed Golden Dome missile defense system. Talk about a big waste of fucking money. What the fuck is that for? Why do we need an Iron Dome? What's that going to be used for? Where are the rockets? Listen, Israel's like Satan. I understand that, but like it makes sense for them to build a missile defense system when they have the fucking Hamas and groups Hezbollah in Lebanon and the Houthis and Iran launching rockets and missiles at them. That makes lots of sense. That's not happening in the United States. Where the fuck are the rockets and missiles? Are they coming from Canada? Are they coming from Mexico? The answer on both accounts is fucking no. So why do we have that? This is fucking stupid. $16 billion for military innovation and money for kamikaze drones and stuff and more drone shit. Just a lot of drone shit. $15 billion for nuclear deterrence. Sure. $12 billion for improving military operations in the Indo-Pacific region. Oh, I wonder why. And then $170 billion to improve border security and increasing the capacity to deport maybe 1 million people a year, which would be fucking insane. Doing that would be fucking crazy, and it would not be good for anyone involved, trust me. The bill increased funding for ICE from $10 billion to more than $100 billion. Now you might ask, wait, why do you mean ICE had $10 billion of funding before Trump was in office? That's a great fucking question. Something Biden kids in cages. But yeah, now it's going to be 10 times as big, and it'll be increased up until 2029, making it the single most heavily funded law enforcement agency in the federal government. These funds include stuff like $46.5 billion to build the stupid fucking wall that has technically already been built, and it's just a big fence because the fucking wall is stupid. $45 billion over 4 years in order to add 100,000 new migrant detention beds and like facilities and shit. That'd be a 365% increase in ICE's budget for detentions. So that's just keeping and holding people. And $29.9 billion for ICE just to hire more people, trying to get 10,000 new officers, right? They'll go down to the local airsoft clubs, American Legion posts, and also onto your Gacha Game Discord servers and find the most racist men alive and be like, hey, do you want to get paid $40,000 a year to be a thug? To be like a fucking racist thug? And they're like, fuck yeah, man. And they'll do it. In fact, they'll be paid entirely in gacha roles. That's a fact. And just more money for Border Patrol, state and local, Department of Homeland Security, border technology, and immigration judges and staff, which, like, it'd be cooler if we had money just for that last part, because the U.S. could do more immigration judges and staff to handle all the asylum cases we get. But, you know, it's probably going to be more used to sentence people than anything else. It would also announce fees for applying for asylum and stuff like that. The bill would cut $1.2 trillion in federal spending, primarily from Medicaid. Regarding entitlements, the bill adds work requirements for Medicaid recipients for the first time, with individuals ages 19 to 64 required to work at least 80 hours per month, with some exemptions for like adults with children and people with medical conditions. So if you're in a wheelchair, maybe you won't be told to work 80 hours a fucking month. But like if, you know, you're not as sick as you want you to be, you'll be forced to work. So you can't have that with unemployment, I assume. I don't know. But I assume they wouldn't be making these cuts for no good reason. They want people to be forced to work. Cuts to the Medicaid provider tax, which helps states cover Medicaid costs. Requires states to check eligibility every 6 months instead of every year. Increases the hours worked per month for SNAP recipients. Prohibits Medicaid from using any funding for Planned Parenthood, which includes every state, even the pro-choice ones. Repeals, this is America moment right here, folks. Repeals the National Education and Obesity Prevention grant program. That's cool. It increases the share of state costs to administer the SNAP program from 50% to 75%, and also restricts future updates to the Thrifty Food Plan used to calculate SNAP benefit levels, which maybe that's used to not have an account for inflation, other stuff. But like, I could imagine making the states pay 25% more of the costs won't help people in rural or red states, which would be a lot of Trump's voter base. There's been a lot of talk about how this bill is going to mainly hurt people in states with somehow even less of a welfare state than other states like California, and they're just going to have a lot of people who are like maybe like in their late middle age or even early elderly are just going to start dying. The bill also pauses a rule issued under the Biden administration to cancel student loans if the school is engaged in deceptive recruiting. So if your school tricked you, you still have to pay off the student loans for it. That's cool. It caps a bunch of student loans, including for stuff like professional degrees and medical school. Requires the Bureau of Land Management to hold quarterly onshore oil and gas lease sales. So requiring the government to just find places to sell land use leases for oil and gas. That's awesome. Rescinds various funding appropriated from the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 and halves funding for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. That's cool. I love that. Please, I want to be scammed. I want to be abused by the corporations I pay all the time. I want to be food poisoned. I love that. I want to be caught up in a million fucking problems. I bet there'll also be a lot of anti-legal action stuff somewhere in that too. Here's some good stuff. A $50 billion rural hospital fund, up from $25 billion used to be, right? To support healthcare providers in rural areas. I'm not against that. Sure. Funding for the U.S. Coast Guard. That's a funny thing, by the way, is that the Coast Guard, it's a branch of the U.S. military, but it's also like the last one in and the first one out. It's funded differently. Because like whenever the government like shuts down, if Congress doesn't specifically say not going to include the Coast Guard also shuts down. Like Coast Guard members don't get paid, right? And this bill here has to separately list out that like we're also funding the Coast Guard. That's funny. Oh, this is also funny. $12 billion for air traffic control funding. I wonder why. More money for NASA, like $10 billion. I'm not sure if that's more or less. We'll see. $40 million for the National Garden of American Heroes. That's Trump's new ornamental garden he's building in DC. That's cool. Remove suppressors from the National Firearms Act. So they're not going to have the $200 tax on those. So if you're going to buy a suppressor, I guess it'll be cheaper. Repeals the de minimis entry privilege, which means that like shipments under $800 that enter the U.S. are no longer going to be tariff free. So all of your Fumos, your Good Smile Company products, your imported Japanese versions of video games, all that shit, if it's not made in the U.S., it's going to increase in price. Because, you thought, oh, well, this thing, this figurine, it's only $200. It's not going to be too expensive when it goes through customs, all the earth taxes. Nope, it's going to be increased tariff anyways. Yeah, I mean, there was some stuff that was cut from it, but overall, real bad, folks. Real fucking bad. You're going to see a lot of, it's going to not be as usual in politics and my current lifetime. The consequences won't be super visible, but you will just understand that things are just getting shittier, right? That's just how it works. It's like, what's that movie, Children of Men, where like, at least the opening, the intro part where he's walking around the city before that bomb goes off. It looks like London. It looks normal. The guy's getting coffee at a coffee stop. Everyone's dressed normally. Okay, but you can just kind of tell that everything is just the same but shittier. That's what this is doing. Yeah, not good. Not good one bit. If I was the Democratic Party right now, I would be hooting and hollering nonstop about every single fucking thing this bill does. And while they have, again, did some really lame, like, what's the word for it, when they just symbolic gestures of I don't like this beyond them voting against it. Overall, they haven't done enough, in my opinion. Maybe I'm too bossy. Maybe the party that tells me every election is the most important election in my lifetime might take politics a bit more seriously. I don't know. I mean, the only guy taking politics more seriously was that New York Times columnist who wrote a piece about Zoran Mamdani, like, lying about his, like, college application, where he said he was African and Asian. And it's like, one, he is African. Two, he is also Asian. Like, ethnicity-wise, he's Asian. And nationality-wise, he's from Africa. He's not wrong. That's like, and what that fucking is that article, which 100% was meant to be a hit against him, was meant to help the chances of, like, Eric Adams. Maybe it's that. Because I know Eric Adams is kind of running. He's not popular, but he's running. And you know what? It might come as a shock to you, but it would not shock me that the Democrats would probably be fine with fucking Curtis Sliwa, or Sliwa, whatever the fuck his stupid name is, when that fucking beret, the Republican nominee for mayor of New York. I imagine they are more comfortable with him winning, or Eric Adams winning, 100% Eric Adams, but more comfortable with any other conclusion than Zoran winning and proving that, like, actually, if you try to win, you can win, right? If you give people positive things that you're going to work for, policies that they actually want, policies that directly help them, you can win, right? And they don't like that, so they're having their fucking little op-ed journo agents go out there to write stuff like, Zoran lied about being black. Look at this, to get into college, he cheated the system. Because Republicans don't give a shit. You don't need to convince them to dislike the guy, right? Like, Trump probably wants him killed, right? Like, they don't like him already because he's brown. All right, that's the only. If you're brown and like a vaguely Muslim coded, they already don't like you. So an article was not written for Republicans, right? It's not written for conservatives or far right types. That was written for liberals, 100%. That was written for fucking liberals, because liberals love a couple things in life. One of those things are rules, and if you break rules, bad. So him seemingly lying about being Asian to get into college would definitely get them off, right? And, like, again, he is from Africa. He can say he's African. The same way I would agree, yeah, Elon Musk is also African. He's literally from that fucking continent. That's where he's born, and he spent time there. That's stupid. But what else is the Democratic Party doing right now, huh? Well, we have a cool article from also from the New York Times, who, a bit before now, though, I think it was written 4 days ago, back in June. Sound familiar? Democrats lay groundwork for Project 2029. The plan to write a policy agenda for the next Democratic president is at the center of a raging debate within the party, whether its biggest problem is its ideas or its difficulty in selling them. This is by Shane Goldmacher. As he looks back at the defeat of former Vice President Kamala Harris last fall, the thing that keeps bothering Andre Cherney, a one-time Democratic speechwriter and state party leader, is that he didn't know what Miss Harris would have done as president if she won. The way he saw it, President Trump ran on his own ideas, but Mrs. Harris only ran against Mr. Trump's ideas. The oldest truism in politics is you can't beat something with nothing. What a great, how smart, good job. If you want to win elections, you have to say things. Now, Mr. Cherney, a co-founder of a nearly 2-decade-old liberal policy journal, is organizing a group of Democratic thinkers to recreate what Mr. Trump's allies did when he was voted out of office. Draft a ready-made agenda for the next Democratic presidential nomination. They're calling it Project 2029. He goes on to say, like, oh, it's like Project 2025. Remember that? Even though it's actually not, because what Project 2025 was like a weird Heritage Foundation paper that wasn't meant to be seen by the public but got leaked, or maybe it was leaked intentionally. I don't fucking know. But like Trump and everyone attached to him during the election said, we aren't doing this. This is crazy. I don't know what the fuck that is. We ain't doing it. And after they got in, he's like, yeah, we're kind of doing it, but like, you know, and like Democrats are like, oh, well, we'll hit it right back at you with our own project. Look. And like, A, we already knew you were going to do this. B, you don't have one. It's not solid yet. What's the Democratic version of the fucking Heritage Foundation? That's my question. The undertaking, which has not previously been reported, strikes at the heart of a raging debate between Democratic lawmakers, strategists, and policymakers. Whether the root of the party's problems is its ideas or its difficulty in persuading people to embrace them. That's great. Is the problem that our ideas fucking suck, or is it because we just aren't explaining them well enough? We aren't talking enough. I can imagine. The surprise success of Assemblyman Zoran Mamdani, a Democratic socialist, in the New York mayoral primary only added fuel to that debate. Did he succeed because of the audacity of his ideas? Freeze the rent? Free buses, free childcare, how horrible all three of those. Or because of the clarity and simplicity of his phrases. It's the latter. It's the latter. If you make things simple, people like you. Was it his relentless focus on affordability? Would it have worked if he weren't as charismatic and savvy at social media as he proved to be? A politician has to be charismatic. That's part of the fucking job. Part of your job is to have charisma, is to have the riz, okay? You're a big public-facing figure. It's your fucking job. Many strategists see the party's issue as more style than substance. We don't lack policies, said Celinda Lake, a prominent Democratic pollster, but we lack the functioning narrative. Bravo. This lady, by the way, is like elderly, so maybe she knows how the kids talk these days. But others believe the party has been losing ground nationally because its ideas are stale, uninspiring, and unresponsive to the demands of today's voters. Wow, that sounds very accurate. Neera Tanden, who has served in the White House in the Clinton, Obama, and Biden administrations and now leads the Center for American Progress, said that for years Democrats have failed to appreciate the role that Mr. Trump's policies have played in his success. Holy shit, guys, listen, we have to have a new approach to things. We have to think about things differently as Democrats. Let's listen to this old idiot woman who worked with Bill Clinton and Obama, who's been in politics for decades. Yeah, she knows what's up. She's got fresh takes on things. She's not loyal to any ideas. Liberals underestimate the power of Trump's ideas, and that we need better ideas to take on both Trumpism and the GOP, she said. We get wrapped up in his personality, but he puts forward an idea like no tax on tips, and that's an important signifier that he's championing working class people. Oh, crazy. Yeah. Yes, Neera Tanden, you should have policies meant to help those people, and maybe they'll fucking vote for you. Crazy. Mrs. Tanden is part of a sizable advisory board for Project 2029. That includes Jake Sullivan, National Security Advisor under former President Joseph R. Biden, and Maurice Slaughter, what a name, the Chief Executive of New America. The economist Justin Wolfers, Felicia Wong, blah, 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 blah. A bunch of liberals. They're centrists. They're liberal centrists. They aren't going to work. It's not going to work. Mr. Cherney, now the president of the journal he helped create, called the assemblage the Avengers of Public Policy, or the Justice League, depending on your personal persuasion. Yeah, that's where I'm stopping on that one. That's embarrassing to talk about. Jesus Christ. Reddit, stupid cape shit country. Fuck. So don't worry, folks. I know you're gonna see less and less money in your bank account soon, and it's just gonna get worse and worse, but you got the Avengers of Public Policy looking out for you. Don't worry. Anyways, let's talk about something different. Not politics. Nope. Not at all. Let's talk about a movie I went to go see that I knew I wouldn't like too much. but went to go see anyways because I have been this year so far been pretty dino brained. In Jurassic World Afterbirth, man-eating dinosaurs are past their prime as the public loses interest in these cold-blooded relics. But a team sets out to find new uses for these ancient creatures. But enough about Scarlett Johansson. There were actual dinosaurs in this movie too. So yeah, I went to go see that. I was half motivated to go see that movie because there was the Christopher Nolan The Odyssey teaser in it. And I saw that, even though you probably could just watch it right now. It's been leaked, I bet. But that was also not too bad. I'm still wary. I'm still very wary of whatever Chris Nolan's interpretation of The Odyssey will be, because either he makes it good, in my opinion, and then people will not like it as an audience because it's going to be really boring for them because they expect big monsters and crazy ship adventures. But The Odyssey is mostly about Odysseus' son going around, and then Odysseus being stuck on several islands dealing with matters of hospitality. And then most of his adventures were him telling stories to one of these people that he's engaging with hospitality in, you know, like it's not what you think it is. It's not following a simple narrative structure. Regardless, I saw that and I went to see the actual stupid movie I paid for. And it was a Jurassic World movie. It's Jurassic World Rebirth, not Jurassic Park. Same fucking shit. Who cares? So yeah. Okay. So this is not spoilers. Good things. One, they're getting rid of all the stupid shit they've been doing for the last like 10 years. Okay. Remember in the second Jurassic World movie, wherever the fuck it's called, Fallen Kingdom, the one where the first half of the movie was like this disaster movie on an island with a volcano blowing up, and then the second half was about people getting attacked by a cartoon Bugs Bunny velociraptor in a haunted mansion. And then it ends with the dumbest fucking choice a human being can ever fucking make, where they're like, but these dinosaurs are clothes like me, and stupid Chungus girl decides to let out a bunch of dinosaurs into the wild, into nature. In doing so, would realistically have destroyed like the planet's entire ecology. Like, you see what damage is done introducing the wrong kind of fucking bee or fish in the wrong area, right? There's a million stories like that. Imagine doing that, right? But what those stupid Jurassic World movies, especially the latter two, did was like make Jurassic Park not be about these genetically modified fucking freaks of nature that just enjoy killing you. No, all the dinosaurs, even the giant meat eaters, are just wholesome Chunkosauruses who are being oppressed by scary rich men. Go save them. Go save them. Chris Pratt, what Red Letter Media called him. He called his character Owen Thundergun, some stupid shit like that. Yeah, it is just shit. It's all just shit. Those movies are fucking stupid. But every fat, stupid chud family loves to go see them because they love seeing the big dinosaurs, and I can't blame them. This movie is made by the guy who made shit like Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and what's it called? It's called Monster, that like weird border movie from like 2010. Yeah, and you know what? He's not too bad of a director. This film decides to get rid of all that stupid dino in the nature crap and say, actually, all the dinosaurs are dying out. It turns out the planet is too different for them to function properly, and they probably all died from like respiratory illness or starvation. Right? Everything's different. The air composition, the heat, the plants, it's all different. They can only survive in tropical areas, right? Thank fucking Christ they decided to do that, because this was getting really ridiculous. Our characters, mainly Scarlett Johansson playing Blackwater military woman with zero personality, and Mahershala Ali playing a guy who really wished he could have been Blade by now, but Disney's too fucking incompetent. And a bunch of other people are going out to go get dinosaur blood to go make a heart disease vaccine, right? And you know what? I'm on board for that. I'm on board for a classic Skull Island-esque go to place, capture blood samples, escape with your lives because dinosaurs are fucking scary. That's perfect. It might not even be good. It might not even be interesting. It'll be pretty trite and repetitive. That's fine. These movies are Saturday morning cartoons ever since the first one, right? I'm good with that. But no, this movie had to have family. Like Fast and the Furious style fucking family bits. So it introduced a second group of people who get trapped on the island and have to go escape dinosaurs with no clear goal in mind besides not getting killed. And it's kind of distracting. Another thing which kind of stinks in my opinion is that, like, even though they were used for like setting scenes up, they were not shown in the final cut. They were overly CGI, except for I think one thing in the movie. There is not much animatronic work in this movie. And that's something I really like about Jurassic Park and other movies like that, is fun animatronics. I will watch your stupid movie if you make a fun little machine that looks like a creature and make it move around, right? Even the shitty, stupid Jurassic World movies had those. I was all on board for that shit. I don't care how stupid the fucking plot was. But nope, it's all CGI here. That's whatever. There are some very, very well done sequences in the movie. There are also some like trite, boring shit sequences in the movie. And unfortunately, in my opinion, the movie is just not scary enough, right? Or it's not hitting the original Jurassic Park's like beats of like, Jesus Christ, you can get killed, right? I don't know. It just didn't have a good enough kill count, in my opinion. I would love seeing dinosaurs just fuck people up. But no. I will say, fuck, how do I say this properly? At the very least, it does just make you understand that, like, you don't just get to run around nearby a T-Rex or a Spinosaurus. They'll fuck you up, right? That's cool. Some people don't like all the genetically modified dinosaur stuff, right? And I'm whatever on it. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not. In this movie, it's kind of boring. They don't do much. There's not much about them. It'd be cool if there was anything done with them that's interesting halfway, but like, no, that's not happening in this movie. And overall, it was rather just kind of whatever, right? It's an action movie. There's thrills and chills and spills, but it also has some parts that are just genuinely kind of just boring and slow. It could have been saved that they just got rid of half the fucking plot and filled it in with more interesting science fiction stuff, right? Because what's funny is that I've recently been reading the original Jurassic Park novel by Michael Crichton, which is written like 3 years before the movie was made. So there's a lot of stuff in that book that's not in that movie. And there are some crazy, great lines in that book. And they use those lines in this movie, right? What's that? 99.9% of all the species that exist on the planet are extinct, stuff like that. Like, there was some of the spirit, like, I think it's the same screenwriter as the first movie too, right? There was the talent here, I think, and I understand some people might argue that this wasn't the case, so I think this was a bit hampered by, like, the studios demanding a big blockbuster and aiming for crowd-pleasing shit, right? Like, just now, there was a news story or an entertainment news story about, like, in the Superman movie, they cut out a part where fucking Crypto the Wonder Dog gets punched. And it's like, why? And it was like, it made people upset in the movie theater. It's like, fuck, that's what movies are for, idiots. Have horrible shit happen. It makes you care about the fucking story. So there's that. What else has happened recently in terms of entertainment? Oh yeah, that movie, I give it fucking 3 bags of popcorn out of 5. It's okay. It's okay. Go watch it if you like dinosaurs. If you don't watch it. Simple as. What else has been booming? That fucking horse game. Do you seen this shit? Umamusume? Pretty Derby? It's like one of the biggest gacha games in Japan, like, this decade so far. It came out in, like, the 2020s, 2020, 2021 in Japan. It did not get a localization out here in the West until just recently. And it's been doing some fucking numbers. Mainly because, even though it's a shitty Satan gacha game, you can still have plenty of fun with it without paying for it. I think it's pretty cool. I'm not being paid by them or anything, but I think it's very charming, okay? You have girls who are based off of real existing Japanese racehorses who are either alive or dead, and they all have quirky, dumb personalities, and you want to race them, and your goal is to get them to different races it stimulates a full-on horse race. And it's really fucking dumb when you watch it, but it does create some hype moments and aura, and if your horse wins, sometimes you get a new musical number of them on the front. And you know what? Sometimes they deserve it, right? I haven't even finished the careers yet. That's like the main mode people are playing right now, the career mode, which is like the whole narrative part of the game that like is specific for each horse. And I haven't beaten it yet because it's fucking difficult, right? Because the last race, it always jumps up in difficulty, right? But it's there, it's close. I get close. It's pretty fun. If you want some mindless fucking bullshit, play that. Don't spend money on it. Do not spend money on these games. Do not spend a single dollar on any gacha game ever, because then you get stuck into it. Then you get the sunk cost fallacy going into it. Don't do so. But still play it. It's pretty fun. If you want to have a fun time, if you do the initial bullshit, here's your free currency rolls and you get gold ship, play her, because she's funny. Anyways, gang, that's basically it. Have a happy 4th of July. Oh wait, that happened yesterday. Have a happy 5th of July and 4th of July weekend. Good luck. Goodbye. See ya.